Welcome to Kidmissing TV. Excuse me, this is the story of Glory Whalen. In the end cards, I will put Gabulosis video on this case because I think she did a fantastic job. Glory was murdered in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada in 1903, May 27th, 1903. She was killed by a gunshot wound to her head that literally bounced around in her head. It was a .38 caliber gun. Could you imagine what that did to the head of a 10-year-old child? She had bruising on her head where she was most likely knocked out. Well, thank God. There is a memorial for her. She was grabbed on her way to school. Obviously, I don't have a phone number for this case because, well, it was... Wait, why do I have her as 10? This says she's 13. Oh, boy. She was the middle child of Henry and Frances Whalen's 5 children. She was pretty and precocious. She was walking along a set of railroad tracks. She was dragged into the nearby cedars or lured and shot. Her body was found the next day by a search party led by her father. Oh, how awful. She was shot in the back of the head, execution style. And her handkerchief with 35 cents in it was found. Unfortunately, the local constabulary, the local police, failed to protect the scene, and by the time provincial detective William Greer arrived a day after the murder, the area had been trampled by curious onlookers eager to see where the girl had been killed. Whatever evidence that had remained that might point to her killer or killers had been destroyed. And of course, her death captured the public's imagination during the summer, and newspapers across the province dutifully reported on the case. On the front pages of the Toronto Daily Star, which is a big newspaper, they said, quote, "It was one of the most horrible atrocities in the annals of Canadian crime." The family had no enemies. There were a few suspicious people. They had a peddler that supposedly pulled a gun on someone that they looked at. There was a $600 reward at the time, which caused tips to pour in from across Ontario, but none led anywhere. $600 was a huge amount of money. Matter of fact, let's find out, just for giggles here. With my mess all around me. Where is my tablet? Oh, it's right here. Let's find out what $600 is today. Today. Okay. $600 in 1903 is about $21,413.80. So a little under $22,000. That is a gigantic amount of money. 6 months after she was murdered, a young man in prison in Britain tried to confess. Though the authorities deemed his confession to be a ruse to distract from the crime he was going on trial for. So-called psychics came forward, claiming to have answers. So many other leads, these leads were without merit. The family split apart after her death. Her father went to Fort William. Frances stayed on the farm another 3 years, in part to clear Henry's debts, before moving to Ohio with 3 of her 4 remaining children. Henry died in 1918 and was buried in Collingwood at the Catholic cemetery. Frances, who would later live with her eldest daughter and her husband, died in Toledo, Ohio, in 1933 and was brought back to Collingwood to be buried beside her ex-husband and her daughter. Her siblings never discussed her death. Sharon Christie only learned of Glory's death after her grandmother, Glory's oldest sister, Lena, passed away. My grandmother never talked about Glory. I only found out about her after my grandmother died, she said. Lena did name one of her 2 children after her late sister, Gloria. But she was called Glory. I don't know that the daughter was, but the sister was. Kim Busio learned about Glory's death through her mother, the daughter of one of Glory's younger brothers, Eugene. This is a quote from her in the paper. Quote, "My mother never told me how she learned about it, but I do recall her telling me several times about it throughout my life, indicating it must have had an impact on her." She said, quote, "I never heard mention of any theories, just that it was a frightening tragedy because of her age and where it happened." Eugene died when Busio was 6. Busio's mother was very close to her dad, Busio's grandfather, and they stayed in close contact after moving to Ohio. And she said, quote, "I got the feeling that all the siblings remained close when they moved from Canada," she said. She wondered if her great-grandfather had something to do with the murder because he left and never saw the rest of the family again. Busio said, quote, "For a mother to separate from her husband and take all the children far away and start over as a single parent was profound." She said, quote, "Looking back, the tragedy broke a family." It surely did, and it's sad that it has not been ever solved. The only thing that's going to solve this case, as Gabby Valente Gabulosis said, is DNA. And we need to do that. We need to heal a broken family. That's all we can do now, is heal a broken family. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 by August 4th, which is my birthday. And on the other channel, we're trying to get to 200 by the 4th of July, and we only have 49 to go. We can do 48 to go, sorry. We can do that. God bless you, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.